Shalom. I'm Rabbi Joe Ozorowski, Rabbinic Counselor and Chaplain for JCFS Chicago, and I manage the Jewish Community Chaplaincy Program. Many of you who are watching have had the pleasure of meeting with our chaplains either on a one-on-one basis or perhaps through some of our programs. But because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we're not able to meet with you and be with you personally. And this makes us very, very sad. Especially with the Yamim Noraim, the Jewish fall high holidays coming, we are especially sad that we can't be with you. So, we decided to bring our chaplains and a little taste of the holidays directly to you through this video. There's going to be a little bit of everything, a little singing, a little cantorial chazanut, some storytelling, some reflections on the prayers, and the shofar. How could you have the high holidays without the shofar? So please sit back and enjoy.
The piyutim, or liturgical poems that we chant during the Kol Nidre service, are some of my very favorite parts of Yom Kippur. We sing them in the evening with feelings of elation before we are overly preoccupied with hunger. One such poem is Ki Hine Kachomer, composed by an unknown paitan, or poet. Ki Hine Kachomer, like clay in the hands of the potter, as stone in the hands of the mason, as iron in the hands of the blacksmith, as the helm in the hands of the naval pilot, as glass in the hands of the glacier, as cloth in the hands of the draper, and as silver in the hands of the smelter. We belong to God. We are shaped, forged, and refined at God's will. We only ask that our God of love and life remember the covenant, Habrit, and show us mercy, healing, and redemption. One especially haunting musical setting is a wordless nigun, a Hasidic waltz melody attributed to the Lubavitchers of Nikolaev, Ukraine. The tune became popular during the 1920s among the non-religious circles in British Mandate Palestine, when Emmanuel Harusi wrote the lyrics for a lullaby entitled Shchav Beni, Sleep, my son, sleep in peace. I first heard it sung by Esther Ofarim. It had an illustrious history during the Holocaust when Gideon Klein, Alav HaShalom, arranged it at Terezin with dark overtones that sounded foreboding. A mother sings to her infant, telling him that whatever rages outside, weather or wild beasts, he is safe with her at his side. He is forbidden to be discouraged or frightened, for tomorrow his father will again go out to plow and begin anew. We too look at Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur as a new beginning. I am moved by the confluence of the sentiments of this lullaby with the words of the piyut. Rather than being a time of terror, Yom Kippur is meant to be uplifting and to restore us as we renew our vows. We stand in awe before God, asking for forgiveness, pledging to do better, hoping for a new tomorrow. This is Chazan Fortuné Belilos wishing you a sweet Shana Tova Tikatevu. May you be inscribed for a sweet and healthy New Year.
הנה כיריה ביד הרוקם ברצותו מיישר וברצותו מעקם כן אנחנו בידך אלקנו ונוקם לברית הבית לברית הבית, ועל תפן ליצר. כי הנה הכסף ביד הצורף, ברצותו משגשג, וברצותו מצרף. כן אנחנו בידך, ממציא למזור טרף, לברית הבית, לברית הבית, ועל תפן ליצר.
Hi. I would like to chant for you one of the more familiar prayers of the Yamim Noraim season of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and that is what's known as Avinu Malkeinu, the multiple verses asking our Father, our King, to help us at this time of need, to forgive us, and to give us a good year. The words are pretty familiar, but this tune that I'll be using today is not that familiar to most people. It's something I inherited from my father of blessed memory, who brought it with him from Poland through the concentration camps and labor camps and into Omaha, Nebraska, where he settled with my mother of blessed memory, and where I grew up with him and learned those melodies. So I'd like to share one with you today for Avinu Malkeinu, and I hope that it helps enrich all of our high holiday prayers. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lifanecha, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Ein lanu melech elata, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Aseimanu Leman Shemecha, Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Kosveinu B'Sefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Kosveinu B'Sefer Geula V'Yeshua. Avinu Malkeinu, Kosveinu B'Sefer Parnasa V'Chalkala. Avinu Malkeinu, Kosveinu B'Sefer Zechuyos. Avinu Malkeinu, Kosveinu B'Sefer Salicha Umechila. And then I'd like to just end with a much more familiar melody that is sung in most synagogues and helps crown all the efforts on Yom Kippur at the end of the day, in which we ask God to find favor with us, answer us, and to recognize that we come with little merit, but deserving of much attention and appreciating the reward of prosperity from God. Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu V'aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu V'aneinu, Ki ein banu masim. Asei imanu, tzedakah v'chesed. Asei imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, v'hoshienu. May we all be inscribed for a healthy and happy new year.
There are so many different interpretations of the sounds of the shofar. One of the best known is by Maimonides, otherwise known as Rambam, a medieval Jewish philosopher and rabbi and physician, who says that what the shofar is telling us is, Uru, Uru, wake up, you sleepers, from your slumber, and consider your deeds and return to your Creator. It's a call to teshuvah, what is sometimes translated as repentance, where we should look at our behavior and try to do better in the next year. And some years, that's the one that speaks to me, and I think in some ways it's something we always need to be considering. I would say in this especially difficult year, where we have had our lives really disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic, and there has been so much loneliness, isolation, loss. It's really been hard for so many of us. What really speaks to me this year is an interpretation of the shofar calls that's about comfort and hope. And this is from Rabbi Dr. Arthur Green. What he says is that the first shofar call, Tekiah, says to us, I started out whole. Let's remember that. Then the next call, Shivarim, 3 shorter blasts. Then I was broken. Maybe things started to get bad. Then the third call, true, 9 staccato blasts can mean, but then I was utterly shattered. Can't even believe how bad things have gotten. But we end every series of shofar calls with another Tekiah. And what Rabbi Green says is, that can mean I can become whole again, can give us some hope that yes, if we look at our behavior, also in general, let's look back, probably in the past things have gotten better. Yes, things can get better. So I would say that the shofar calls this year are our prayer and our expression of hope that we, our communities, our world can become whole again. Shana Tova.
One of the most stirring prayers in the High Holiday Liturgy is Unatana Tokef, a prayer that goes back about 1,200 years, in which the author envisions all of us lining up and being judged by the Almighty, by God, for the coming year. And in one of the more significant parts of that prayer, and for some people it's a rather scary part, we ask, what will be our fate for the coming year? Mi yechyeh u'mi yamut, who will live and who will die? And some of it is really quite scary given what we are experiencing today. Mi barash, mi b'magefa, who in earthquake and who in a plague, who in a pandemic. But as the message of the prayer continues, we note that utshuva, utfila, utzdaka ma'avirin et roa hagezera, that tshuva, return or repentance, and tefillah, prayer, and tzedakah, which means righteousness but is usually understood as charity, generosity, can avert the evil decree. So this gives us an out, perhaps. It's a very emotional prayer, and it's often a platform for great cantorial wizardry. But we still have to ask ourselves, given our life experience, and certainly in the experience of this pandemic, do repentance and return and prayer and charity really avert the evil decree? Has the COVID-19 pandemic really overlooked people who are generous and charitable, people who are synagogue goers, people who are righteous? From everything we've all experienced and seen, COVID-19, as well as other forms of suffering and difficulty in the world, are equal opportunity plagues. So our experience does not actually mirror the words of the liturgy unless we retranslate the words. And a more accurate version of the Hebrew is Roa HaGzera is not the evil decree. These things don't avert the evil decree. They avert Roa, the evilness of the decree. They can't necessarily change what goes on. They give us the tools to face the difficulties and the challenges of what goes on around us. This, I think, is the inner meaning of that prayer, and certainly in an environment that we have today, when we're facing illness and loss, and the inability even to see our families, to see other people, being locked up and quarantined in our homes and our other places, we need some tools. And the prayer is telling us the tools of Torah, of Jewish life, of prayer, however we define it, of generosity, however we define it, and of returning to our sources can help us face the evilness and the difficulty of what goes on around us. And that's the message we can take with us for this year. I'd like to close our video before we hear the sound of the shofar with a short song. When I was a congregational rabbi in Pennsylvania, we brought in a chazan, a cantor, and he would always bring the children together before Rosh Hashanah and teach them and sing this song with them. And I'd like to sing it for you. We all wish you loud and clear, L'Shana Tova, a good year. We all wish you and we greet you, all the children loud and clear. L'Shana Tova Tikatevu, a good year, a good year. L'Shana Tova Tikatevu, a good year, a good year. We at JCFS Chicago wish all of you a good year. In Hebrew, L'Shana Tova Tikatevu V'Techatemu. In Yiddish, a git gebench dior. And in English, a sweet and healthy new Jewish year. Shana Tova.
Tikiya Shevarim Trua